Thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. I'm having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to be talking about Ghost Girl by Ali Melanenko. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I pronounced her name right. I'd like to send my thanks to the publisher for sending me a copy of this book. I thoroughly, 100% loved it. I loved it. It was great. So the book starts on a dark and stormy night in, let's see, Knobs Ferry. Small little town. I believe it's south of Sleepy Hollow, I think she says. Yep. Just north of Knob Ferry was a much bigger town, famous for being the home of the classic ghost story and about a headless horseman and the knock-kneed Ichabod Crane. So, Knob Ferry is south of Sleepy Hollow, which I still need to go there. It follows Z. She is a young girl born with poliosis. So poliosis is when you're born with white hair. Maybe a patch of your hair is white, maybe all of your hair is white. It's not exactly being born with albinism, because it doesn't affect any of your other features like your skin, your eyes, or anything like that. It's strictly your hair. So it's poliosis. So there's our main character, Z, right there. And this is Nellie and Z's best friend, Elijah. So it's also a really good diverse cast of characters. And I like the story because there's a lot of growth to it and there's a lot of humanity to the storytelling. So Z lives with survivor's guilt. She's only 11 years old, and her survivor's guilt is based on the fact that when she was born, her mother unfortunately did not survive childbirth. She lives with her older sister. Their father is on the road looking for work, trying to make a little bit more income after mom's, bills, pretty much. And in their small town, money is a little hard to come by. So she lives with her older sister, and I think it's great. Her family loves her. Her family has no resentment towards her at all. They love her and they cherish her. In fact, when her sister Abby decides to garden, she's like, no reading. Because she knows, and Z's like, oh, how dare you? You can't say no reading. It's just like, well, if I lock you in your room, you're going to find enjoyment. Like some kids with video games, you're going to find enjoyment with reading. Pretty sure my mom did that to me once. Can't remember. So I think it's really great that Z has a strong support system. And you're seeing a lot of different families here. And that's also something that brings a lot of realism to the storytelling as well. Z, she lives with her older sister. Their father is off trying to look for work so that he can make more money to support them. You have her best friend Elijah. He's African American. He is the smartest kid in the school. He's in all the advanced honors classes at their school. And for him, what he's struggling is his mom's not doing well. His mom does have bipolar disorder, and they're trying to figure it out, what she has, because for the majority of the book, they don't know exactly what's wrong with her mother, what's wrong with Elijah's mother. And their father, he's not a bad guy. I think he's just kind of stuck in his own head half the time, because he says things like, oh, I was like you when I was younger, and then I, joined sports, and I got fit, and I got popular. He thinks if his son follows in his footsteps, he'll be happier. But I think he's just, because he doesn't believe, like, oh, how can you be happy being, I guess, overweight, in his opinion. And I think that's kind of naive, but it's also very realistic. I think a lot of parents, they see their children tend to be a little overweight. It's like, how can you be happy? It's just like, first of all, you putting down your kid for how they look isn't going to make them happier. In fact, it might lead them to being overeaters. What is it? They might be binge eaters. People who eat for love. So you're not doing your kids any favors by doing that. Just love and accept your kids. If you feel like they're not being active, that's one thing entirely. That's a different thing entirely. If your kid's just always sitting down, just playing video games, just like, come on, kid, get outside. Have some fun. It's one thing. Our bodies are all defined differently. They are designed differently. Metabolisms. I just read this new article about how everything we knew about your metabolism might be wrong in Scientific America. So, what I'm trying to say is Elijah's dad is a really accurate representation of a lot of parents. You think you're doing your kid favors by just saying, I used to look like you, but then I do this. Just like you're kind of subvertly putting your child down. So Elijah's whole issue at home is, he has his mother who's not doing too well, and he has a father who's also, doesn't quite get it. And then you have Nellie, and Nellie's a school bully, and she's a bully because she's jealous of Z. Why is she jealous of Z? Because Z has a wonderful family. Z has a father who loves her, has an older sister who loves her, she has people, because, she wants to be a storyteller. People listen to Z. Nellie's family, they might be rich, they might be the upstanding citizens of their small little town, but her family puts her down. Nothing she does is ever good enough. She feels very unloved and very ignored by her family. She's like, the only person who loves me is my dog. The only person who listens to me is my dog. That's kind of sad. It's no excuse for bullying, absolutely not. But it really does give Nellie a little bit more depth and humanity to her characterization. It really does make you think about bullies in general. Like, being a bully, that's learned behavior. Where are they learning this behavior? Are they learning it from someone they look up to? A mentor, a guardian, a parent? Are they acting out because their home life isn't that great? Are they themselves being bullied at home? Some people are just bad, but a lot of the times bullies become bullies because their home life is really rough. And I think in order for us to stop the whole bullying thing, we have to take a closer look at being like, okay, what's going on at your home, at your home, kid, because being a bully is learned behavior. So I love the depth to the storytelling, and I love the depth to the characterization and these dynamics that are brought to life in this narrative. But it's also a really good, fast-paced, chilling ghost story, I think. So Old Scratch has a Faustian vibe to it. Can't say the word right now, but Faust. So Old Scratch comes into town on this dark starry night. He becomes the new principal, and everyone's wishes keep coming true. But there's something sinister about him that Z's just not like, she's not buying it. She's really not. She's like, nothing's this good to be true. Like, oh, we wanted to hear from my dad, and all of a sudden he calls? Like, no, something fishy is going on here. She's noticing the ticks. And what's more is, she inherited her mother's gift of being able to talk to ghosts. So yes, she sees dead people. And this one ghost that she sees needs help, and with the help of Nellie, whose aunt, is a lot like Z's mother, which is what binds these two together, Bully and Bullier, they discover that Old Scratch had something to do with this ghost. So there's a really good, it's a great ghost story, basically. It's a great ghost story. I think the momentum, the pacing, it all worked so well. I mean, I read this book in 2 days. Not even. You know, I mean, the font type is pretty big, easy to read for children. It's very age appropriate for ages 8 and up. The characterization is really good. So even if you're an older reader, it says ages 8 to 12, I think you'll still appreciate this novel, because I know I sure did. I kind of loved it, actually. Loved it. It reminded me a lot of Catherine Arden's Small Spaces, which, by the way, great book. And I think the plot development, the pacing, the rising tension, the character growth, those character dynamics, they add a lot to the storytelling. So the storytelling is very solid. Sorry, my daughter's like kicking up a storm right now. There's a lot to the storytelling that makes it worthwhile. Like I said, you're dealing with 3 kids who all have different home lives that are affecting them very differently. And to see the kind of depth and realism brought into the storytelling really does add a layer of maturity to the overall narrative. So you're able to enjoy it. You're able to really see the story develop. You're able to really see the characters develop and those dynamics develop, because it's rich. It really is rich, and it really does have a really solid ghost story setting. Z aspires to be a writer. She wants to be like the great Mary Shelley, who is the mother of science fiction. And I love that. I think it's incredible that that's who she aspires to be at 11 years old. It's fantastic. What was I doing when I was 11? I think I wrote my first fan fiction. Yep. I think I wrote Harry Potter fan fiction when I was 11. So yeah, I guess I also wanted to be a writer. But I think it's great that you're seeing this love and passion for writing and storytelling come from such a young character, because you're seeing it come from the author as well. You're seeing the author reflect her joy and her love of reading to the character, and it really does bring her alive. It really does make her more relatable. It really does match the flow, the fluidity of the storytelling to keep it engaging page after page and chapter after chapter. And honestly, if this were a series, oh, you know what this did remind me of? The Evil Librarian series by, can't remember the author's name, but the Evil Librarian series, which is a young adult series. That's what this also reminded me of, and oh my god, that series was so good. But that one's more for young adults. This one's more for juvenile fiction. You know, it's juvenile readers. You know what? I would just get it. I bought it. Well, no, I'm keeping this. Sometimes when I get ARCs from publishers, I tend to donate them to fellow readers or to the library. No, this one's mine. I'm keeping it. It's going in my bookcase. Or in this case, right now, storage. But it's a great novel, and I have to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nothing really, I don't know what's keeping me from that 5, but 4.5 out of 5 stars for Ghost Girl. It was a really rich, good ghost story that's compelling from beginning to end. So please remember to purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. If you are interested, all I ask is that you don't purchase it from Amazon. If money's tight, check it out from your local library. And I hope you all continue to support me here by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. You can also become a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and as always, happy reading.